We have a cat. We have a very exciting cat. It's a Cinnamonkey. We have a Cinnamonkey. What a good girl. I don't have a way to get a good angle on her, unfortunately. This is the best I can do. She's completely buried in her cup, being so sleepy. But it is a precious gift to have her. Hello. Welcome, Bow and Arrows. Welcome, Leo. Waiting for dinner. You're going to be lurking and popping in and out. Well, that's allowed. Enjoy lurking. Najwa, hello. Welcome. Hey, Belly. Yeah, we had to, it's getting to that time of year when, oh, what a good girl. Big stretch. It's getting to be that time of year when it gets quite humid and we want to keep windows windows and doors open as much as possible in that sort of interim time before we want to really start running the air conditioner. We try to sort of extend that as much as possible and not run the air conditioner until we truly have to. But that means that it gets very humid because we live in a literal swamp. And so one of the ways that we combat this is by running the dehumidifier just in the basement, because that's where it gets most humid and it'll get really bad. We'll end up with just mildew on the walls and such. And so we have to run the dehumidifier down there. But in order for that to be effective, we have to close the basement door. Her favorite hiding spot is in the basement. We have a cat door on it. She hasn't figured out how to use it. Timony figured it out right away. He was like, we did treats on both sides of it and like encouraged him to come through. And he's very, very treats motivated, very food motivated in general. And so he was right on it. He had it figured out within an hour and was going in and out happily. She has not figured it out. And so she has managed to effectively self-exile herself from her very favorite place to escape from Timony and just be able to sleep in peace without being attacked. And tried to, without Timony trying to coax her into play. So I figured, she asked to be let in. I figured I'll just let her in and close the door and see if she wants to chill and hang out for stream. And she just like hopped right up and curled up and went straight to sleep. She's such a good girl. It's hard. It's hard having a kitten around. She loves playing with him, but just not all the time, she needs a break. He's got too much energy. So normally she would just run down to the basement and hop up into her little basket that she's got down there. It's an old broken laundry basket that's got a yoga mat folded up in it. And that's for some reason her favorite place to escape him. And it's nice and cool down there. So hello, Dame. Welcome. Yeah. So we're going to do, I figured like today's sort of the best day to do Easter nails. I haven't done any Easter nail art at all yet this year. I don't know really what I want to do exactly. So I'm taking suggestions. I did pull like all of my pastels, pretty much, basically all my pastel cremes. I don't know, like maybe we want to do some kind of like a smush thing or a gradient or fluid art. I don't know. I got just like a bunch of colors. We could do Easter eggs. We could do some cute bunnies. We could do Easter eggs with bunny ears. We could do worms. We could do worms coming out of Easter eggs. Easter worms. Wait, Linry, were your worms coming out of Easter eggs? Were they Easter worms? I need to know. Your spelling is whack today. I didn't see Linry's worms. I could do Easter frogs, but I just did frogs the other day. One of them is coming out of an egg. What if they wait? Do they have bunny ears? The one that looks like Homer Simpson. Easter eggs gets your votes. Your votes. You have multiple votes. Who told you get multiple votes, Dame? I'm gonna have to like take a closer. I remember seeing. I've got like a hair doing something. I'm gonna have to take a closer look because I did sort of briefly see Easter snails. Wait, Nelly, I didn't even notice the typo. Easter snails. Easter snails. It just makes it seem like they're extra derpy Easter snails. I love that idea. That's a really fun concept. The worms are spectacular and one has a bunny headband. Okay, but now Easter snails is in my head and I think I simply must do Easter snails. What if it's like a bunch of Easter eggs and then just like a couple of them are secretly snails? I don't know. I don't know if I want to do like a snail. I feel like a snail on each nail is a bit much, but what if it was like sort of a scene and then like a couple of them are little derpy Easter snails. I love this idea. Easter snails. Easter snails. Nelly, you've done it. You've done it. You've struck gold. Easter snails. Okay. All right. So it sounds like, I mean, I feel like they have to be in the grass, right? Um, they have to be in the grass. They simply must be in the grass. So snails in the grass means we're going to need to have some greens. I've got, that's only kind of greenish. I've got several greens. I think I am actually going to need a slightly darker green to sort of ground the ground. They could be snail eggs. It's true. Okay, let me grab a darker green. I think like leapfrog. Leapfrog would be good. Yeah, exactly. The shells are Easter egg decorated. What did you think we were doing, Yaneli? I assumed that was what you meant, girl. In the grass, but one has to be climbing up the side of my nail like up a wall or something. I love that. Okay. All right, we're going to start with just dark green creme. We're going to build from there. I think that's the way to do it. Indecrypted, you are not ready for this. Can you see the words are hard. Can you see the chat from before you came in, or do you only get to see chat after you came in? I think only after you came in, right? We're doing snails. We're doing Easter snails. Sorry, we're not doing Easter snails. We're doing Easter snails. So we're starting with green because they're going to be in the grass. Yaneli is like basically throwing out genius level concept today. So we're just rolling with it. Okay. I have an ocean of pastels here. The greens were just because I had to start with grass. So I'm gonna start with a coat of, this one's Monarch Leapfrog. I do get paid to swatch for Monarch, but this one I purchased. All the crumbs I have from them I've purchased, except she has gifted me a Nocturnal Noir because I go through so many of them. It's like my go-to black these days. Everyone don't forget to change chat to live instead of top. Is that, oh my God, are they stupid? Do they do a thing where they like block half of the stuff by default? Mine seems to be showing live rather than top. Although, hang on now. Is that? No, it is showing top messages, not all messages. Evil, evil. Lighter green bar glitter for grass? No, Dame, we are going all creme on this one. Because that is what I pulled, and my brain decided it was the way. It's the way today. It is an all creme day. Sometimes I just get in the mood. I just want to do all creme nail art. It's just I don't know. It's a thing. It's so much easier to use cremes for nail art. I'm basically always happiest with the results of hand painting if I just do cremes. Which doesn't mean, you know, like sometimes I'll include other stuff as well, but just for some reason it always ends up making me happiest if I just stick with cremes for nail art. At least for like illustrative nail art. I don't know, man. Brain's brain. They always changing things. It's true. Bastards. Tell them not to. Tell them to stop. We, there's like a bunch of those like, you know, puzzle games that we play every night. That, like Wordle is one of them, but that's not one of the ones that pisses me off. But like that kind of little browser or puzzle game. And there's like a couple of them that they keep fucking making these little changes where I'm like, why did you, like everything was working completely fine. You rearranged things ever so slightly and now it's totally broken on mobile and I can no longer like do half of the stuff that I'm supposed to do. And it like jumps around when I'm trying to do things. And I'm like, what? Just stop changing things. If it's not better, if it's not like doing something that is actually better, stop fucking changing it. Don't just change it for the sake of changing it, you know? Like, it's not even like, you know, nothing was wrong with it. They weren't fixing a problem. They weren't adding a feature that people wanted. They're just changing it. There's no fucking reason. Just stop it. You don't have to like update everything all the time. Drives me fucking crazy. You realize during Linry's stream that the default is top chat? Yeah, that's very annoying. Instagram always moving around too? Yeah, constantly. Yeah, cremes they just work better for hand painting. And the other thing is like, bar glitter on its own is not going to look like grass enough to make me happy. And then I'm going to want to paint highlights over top of it. And then that's going to obscure some of the bar glitters. And then I'm going to have sections with bar glitters and sections without. And then I'm going to be annoyed about that. It'll just annoy me. You think it's changed to hide the comments that call out AI videos because it always gets labeled as spam comments? Fuckers. Absolute bastards. I think that it's correct for people to call out AI videos if they're actually AI. Although I do get annoyed when they're not AI and people are just saying things are AI, you know, as like to troll or because they don't understand that something actually is possible or, you know, that drives me a little bit crazy. You used Mooncat Stumped to paint a Christmas pudding on your nail with KB Shimmer Holiday Traditions for the fruity icing. That actually sounds flawless. That's no notes. That's a perfect Christmas pudding right there. You couldn't have hand painted that better. No way to do it. Now, do I need a second coat or Am I going to be covering it with enough other stuff? I should just go ahead and put a second coat. I mean, it's obviously not all the time that I only want to use cremes. There's lots of stuff that I will use other colors for. And like, I will frequently do some kind of nail art on top of like a magnetic or a shimmer or whatever. But that's generally when it's like going to be an isolated element against that background, rather than a bunch of stuff that I'm trying to integrate with it. And like, it can work. Like on Tuesday, the Transrigs mani that I did, that was a combination of shimmer and creme, and it worked beautifully. But yeah, it was just like, because the elements that used something other than creme were like different textural elements and didn't have to be sort of cohesive together. Painting grass is so fun. It's happening so often on TikTok, artists having to prove they aren't AI because people are just accusing them with nothing but vibes. Yeah. Like, I appreciate that there are so many people that are so vehemently anti-generative AI in the arts. I think it's correct. It's a correct stance to take, and I'm glad that people care about it. But if you don't know the medium and you don't know how the person is creating it, it can be, in some media, it can be very easy to mistake actual, like, very high skill for AI. AI learned from very skilled people, you know? So it's a thing. There's a painter, a Canadian painter I follow. Oh God, I cannot remember his name. But at a glance, you would assume that his work is AI. It has this very sort of weird, like, surreal, hyper-real, bizarro world kind of swoopy swirliness to it, where like you'll sort of see like every individual feather of an owl or something, but it will flow into the same brushstrokes from the rocks behind it or the tree or whatever. And it, if you didn't know his process and you weren't familiar with his work, you would just look at it, you would glance at it and go, that's AI. But it's not. Like, he's posted videos, time-lapse videos of his process, and he's been doing that style for, longer than generative AI at that level has existed. What a good sinner. So yeah, like, it's easy to assume that something is AI if it looks too good, or if it looks too weird. And yeah. If you don't know, you don't know. You feel like only 2 generations have internet media literacy? Yeah, for sure. But also, like, even those generations aren't necessarily really good at spotting AI all the time, right? Yeah, the extra effort and resource and time related to having to prove through video or whatever that your art is your art, and is made by you by hand, is such a massive load on artists who are already not making a lot of money, and it's pretty brutal. And yeah, the storage, if you're like, storing stuff on the cloud, or if you're uploading stuff to, we're uploading stuff to YouTube, we're uploading stuff to Instagram, that is also, also using the same data centers that we're slamming AI for. So there's an argument to be made that that's also damaging to the environment. It doesn't come with the other issues, but that is also damaging to the environment. So if you're if that's part of your reason for hating AI, then you should also hate the burden, the unnecessary burden being placed on artists in that way. Hi, Spooky Mouse. Pretty Green. Yes, this is Monarch Leapfrog. Just the base, but we've got lots to go. Julia Gisella's work has people screaming AI all the time, despite her only posting videos of her actually drawing. Yeah, that's such a thing. Such a thing. It's part of why, I don't think I'm good enough that people would assume that my stuff is AI anyway, but it's part of why I'm glad that most of what I do is live streaming, at least when it comes to art stuff. I kind of stopped doing, I mostly stopped doing edited nail art videos, partly because it's just so high effort. It's so high effort. It adds so much to the process. It's like freaking brutal. But, you gotta do it. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of some hand-painted grasses, and then we're going to start on some eggies, and then at the end we're going to add in more hand-painted grasses, because we're going to need to have some layers of color. I'm just, I'm dropping a bunch of greens here. And I'm kind of just going to do a little swooshy swirly with them without mixing too much. Big brands using AI irks me because they can pay artists for quality work. Yeah, that drives me fucking crazy. You had a couple people think your mushroom nails were AI? Okay, well, people are stupid. Let's just start there. People are freaking stupid. All right. Boy, that was quite a bold grasp there at the beginning. My goodness. It just really went for it, huh? Oop, and I just totally scraped that part. I'm not taking any care at all with this because there's going to be other stuff in here. So we're just kind of swoosh swooshing. Oop. Well, that was a bit more than I really intended to do, but we have the technology to backtrack it a little. We can probably put something in front of it to help as well. So we'll just let that be for the moment. All right, that can be our first little, and then these guys are going to be this direction. Oop, that was a little overloaded. So the plan here is grasses and then eggies and snails, snegs, eggs and snails and snegs, and then more grasses. I think that's going to be it, right? You spent an hour editing a moss agate tutorial only for Instagram to glitch in the first minute. You deleted the originals because your phone screams for storage space. April fooled you. Oh, no. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. You edit directly on Instagram? Is that... Am I understanding correctly from that you were doing your editing directly on Instagram? I don't do that, so I've never had this issue. I tried editing in Instagram a couple of times and I hated it so much that I just went, no, we're not doing that. We don't need that kind of pain. They didn't think the cheese nails were AI, just upsetting. Listen, the cheese nails were perfect. The cheese nails were brilliant. They are, in fact, the work of a twisted genius. I agree. You don't do video much, so you did it directly on Instagram because it felt doable. I am so sorry. I do all my video editing in iMovie, mostly on my phone. Every once in a while, if it's like a longer video, I'll edit it on my laptop. It is slightly easier on the laptop, but yeah, generally speaking, I just do it on my phone because I've kind of got it. For my swatch videos, I've got it down pretty quick at this point, so it's very little, I kind of do the same thing every time. I sort of just have a system for it. Relatively little effort at this point. Are there going to be some little flowers in this grass? Maybe a couple, huh? You can't figure out Insta, so you're sticking to TikTok? I can't I can't deal with TikTok. Okay, grass, flowers. Let's just throw a few little bloopy somethings in here. We'll just do a little sort of vague shapes. This, I forgot how jellyish these ones are. Might have to do a different. How about some lavender? That one got discontinued, didn't it? Lavender. Okay. That's better. So we'll do a few of those kind of flowers in the background. Not worrying about any kind of detail at this point. Might do a couple more detailed flowers at some point in this process. I don't know. We'll see. See how I'm feeling about it once I get the eggies in there. It might feel right to just leave them as little bloopy bloobs. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was it was still in Cat's Up. I'm so sorry. May we see the nails. That is Cinnamon. Buttercups. Yeah, buttercups are cute. What else we got? R.I.P. Lavender. Your cosmos finally sprouted after being left on a shelf under your fish tank after you thought the seeds were dead. You have a lavender dupe, but it's an Orly. Boo. Boo. Should we use a little bit of yellow as well? Do a bit of. Oh boy. Yeah, she probably needs to have. She probably needs to have her neck cleaned here. This one's Banana Hacks. It's like the only pastel yellow that I have. Because I don't usually love pastel yellow. But it does have a place in nail art. Just gonna do a few little yellow flowies here and there. Whoop, that was a bit much. Just pick some of that back up. There we go. I need to remember to actually look at my monitor from time to time so that I know what you guys are seeing. Because otherwise, y'all might just be looking at a cat when I think you're looking at my nails. Not that most people are unhappy to see the cat, but... Yes, we do not like Orly, Rachel. We do not like Orly because they did a Harry Potter collab. And in the year 2025 and now 2026, we do not stan the Harry Potter loving brands that are putting money in the pockets of evil people. We've struggled so much to find the perfect pastel yellow. A lot are too pale and or not close enough to orange. Yeah. You know, keep on using that polish you've got, though, because you've already got it. I'm just, I have a couple of things from brands that I don't like, and I don't usually use them on stream. If I do bring them up on stream at all, it's usually to bash them mercilessly. You know, but it's not like I'm gonna landfill them, right? They're still functional. I spent money on them, so I'm gonna use them. Just not gonna tag them or give them any publicity. All right, Eggies. Yeah, I have very little from Orly. I think I have like 3 or 4 just extraordinarily bad neons from them. And thankfully, the only things I ever bought from them were like the first things I ever bought from them were neons, and their neons were so awful that I just went, oh, so Orly sucks then. And just never bothered buying any more of them. And of course, I know that not all of them were like that, but, you know, that was my first experience with them, and it was enough for me to be like, yeah, I don't need to be taking those kinds of chances. Okay. The eggs are starting out white because some of these polishes that I'm going to be using are Crellies, and I don't want to have to do, 5 coats. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in a white base for all of the eggies, and then we will do color over top. I think it will be less annoying for me that way. I don't have to fight anything. Yeah, that's exactly how I do it as well, Belly. If I use something, on something that I'm gonna on a mani that I'm gonna post, I'll just be like, this color from a brand I no longer support, or I simply just won't name it. I'll be like, a lot of the time my nail art stuff I've used multiple different brands, and so I won't necessarily even add the names of all the polishes, right? A lot of the time I'll just say I used, cremes from the following brands, and I just omit them because it's fine. It hurts nobody to just not say anything at all about them. And if somebody does ask specifically, then I will say that one is from a brand I no longer support. And if they have like a really distinctive labeling or something, or like if they were, if it was a brand that had a really distinctive bottle shape, for instance, then I would make sure that the bottle was not shown. or like with stamping plates, if it has, for instance, a distinctive color backing, I will ensure that that is never visible in a video. Yeah, the Orly thing was made much worse by the fact that they had cozied up to the queer community so much for so many years, and really made the Pride collections a big part of their corporate identity. So to do that was really, it really felt like a kick in the teeth. So, I am having a struggle with this particular egg. I'm just gonna stop there. This egg might end up being a snail. You know what? This egg is going to end up being a snail because I don't like how the shape is coming out. So this is going to end up being a snail, and then it will make perfect sense. It will be like, oh, that's why that one's weird. Oop. There, see? Now it's perfect. It's true, the eggs start white before you dye them anyway, unless you use brown eggs, in which case, why are you using brown eggs to dye? That's weird. Yeah, they left everyone on red when they got called out. That was hilarious. That was legitimately funny to me. I was like, just like the fact that like they just left all of these comments on their page and it's just like a bunch of people being mad at them about it and they didn't say anything. It's just such a weird choice. Like, what are you doing? I, on the other hand, did not bother commenting because I was like, I already don't purchase their shit and I don't want to tell the algorithm that this is an exciting post. So respect to the people that were yelling at them, but I didn't want to join in. Yeah, egg plus too much gene equals snail. It's true. So not all of the nails will have a snail on them, I think. I think it's only going to be some nails. Because I think that's cuter. I think that's just going to be a fun idea to just not have all of them be snaily. It'll be less predictable. Okay, we got 3 on that one. Let's do one more over here. We need a lot of eggs, is the thing. There's simply got to be a ton of eggs in this. Yes, that is why I had the egg on my thumbnail for the trans rights Manny the other day. It's like Target made a big deal about Pride and DEI and then immediately buckled when they got pushback. Partnered with the LGBT Center in LA. So it's weird. I agree. It's weird. Just pick a stance, have a backbone. Or shut up, you know? just shut up and stay out of it. That's an acceptable option as well. Just have no stance, shut up, stay out of it. but don't. I mean, that's suboptimal, but it's better than trying to play both sides at the same time and ending up looking like a bunch of schmucks. It's the trying to make money off of a group of people while then turning around and trying to make money off of the erasure of those same people. It's just like, what are you doing? Stop. It's not okay. All right. So many egg. You're so excited to see this silly idea become art. Thank you for blessing me with this greatness. It already looks amazing. Yay. The Easter rabbit lays the eggs. Do they also lay the snails? I think that's private, and we should let that be between the eggs, or the snails and the rabbits. What snails and rabbits do in the privacy of their own dens, I guess. It's none of our business. Hi, Ray. Welcome. You're late for a very important date. You are indeed, because, well, there's not going to be any white rabbits in this. I'm sorry. Although, there might be some bunny ears. Perhaps. These eggs hatch snails. Eggs for trans rights. Yeah. All eggs are for trans rights. All eggs are symbolic of trans people and therefore belong to trans people and therefore are pro-trans rights. That's just science. I'll be bunnies. I am sad to tell you that I will not be painting myself with bunny ears on my nails. But I did very much enjoy that incredibly bad quick and dirty lazy Photoshop for the thumbnail. I looked up from my work, was horrified, and declared it perfect. It's truly an awful image was born today, and I couldn't be prouder. You were busy adjusting the new magnet thingamajig. How's it going? Ray? I'm very curious about it. I'm gonna end up, whichever prototype ends up best is the one that I need you to bring to PBE for me. Let's put one over here. You unfortunately live in a very closed-minded Bible Belt town, so you're learning. So are you unfamiliar? Were you asking because you're unfamiliar with the link between eggs and trans people? Because if you were asking that, then I can explain that happily. I don't want to be talking down to people who already know about this, but eggs are a common symbol for trans people who haven't figured out that they're trans yet. They're considered to be in the egg stage. They haven't quite fully understood themselves, and so they are egg. And when they hatch into beautiful trans people. It's just a thing. Another really common symbol is for trans people in general is butterflies, because of the the transition, the complete transition from caterpillar to butterfly. So I guess the equivalent to the egg would be the caterpillar. But yeah, it's a lovely, they're both lovely analogies, I think, that really tickle me. I think they're just very sweet. Your kids were convinced they saw the real Easter Bunny once. You had dumped your bird's uneaten food in the driveway and a rabbit came, was eating the bird seeds. So obviously it had to be the Easter Bunny, because otherwise why would they be eating bird seeds, right? Duh. Makes total sense. The prototype made me glue, debating if that's good enough or if you should tweak it some more. Interesting. Interesting. All right, well, I look forward to seeing how that prototype is working. I'm going to give you a cat while I take a sip of water. So thirsty. Talking a lot is make thirsty. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Back to the nails. Here we go. Got one more. And I think on the pinky, it might just be one egg. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe this egg will actually end up being a snail. We won't know until we know. Okay. Yeah, I think, well, do I want, you know what? I have a gooder idea. Not better, gooder. Make it a little bigger. Have it a little offside. And then this one's going to have a little baby snail on it. Okay. It's also because eggshells can crack a little at a time. Yeah, they might not fully emerge all in one go, as transitioning is difficult and you break out over time. That is true. Okay. I think that's a good base. It is. It is really lovely. I think it's beautiful. Well, you can't be upset with them for not telling you that. They may just assume that you already know, or they may not think that you would find it as nice as they do, or they may not like it, right? Like, trans people aren't a monolith. Not everybody likes the same analogies. So, it's possible that they don't love that analogy. Who knows? Okay. So, do we start with the snails first to decide who are the snails, and then go from there? I think maybe we decide who are the snails first, because I am also going to want to put a little bit of white for the foot and such, right? So we've got this one here is a snail, and this one's got a little snail on it. I think this one right here is probably a snail. It's got snail vibes to me. So we'll just give that a little bit of a slightly different shape at the bottom. And then maybe, I wonder if this one here is a snail. This one that's off to the side. This one definitely looks like it would be a snail. I think this little guy right here. So his face is going to be in front of this other shell. This one is a snail, but it is definitely facing straight, like head on. So we'll put his little foot here. And then, yeah, so his face will be completely encompassed in this region. And then, yeah, and then this one is a baby snail on an egg. Okay. That feels correct to me. I think that's correct. Yeah, it's possible they don't know the analogy themselves. I do feel like there's a certain amount of just like, if you have to sort of run in the right cultural circles online in the correct generation. I definitely have trans friends that are not as sort of internet savvy, and don't necessarily, talk a lot with younger trans people and would not be likely to know things like that. And then, others that are very aware of literally everything. And on top, like my kid is like super, she just knows everything. And so she's like, she's 31, 30, she's turning 32. But she hangs out with a lot of younger people, like on Discord and stuff. And so she's very aware of all of the younger generation's slang and analogies and such. Eggy, yeah. So BCB Brittany calls me Eggy because one single time I typoed her name. And I accidentally typed her name like Britney Spears instead of like Britney, the way she spells it. And so ever since then, she calls me Eggy. And sometimes she just summons me by using the egg emoji, which I think is rude, but also very funny. Okay. So these like more sort of crelly-ish colors, I think, are going to be cute for shells and such. I'm just gonna blob some stuff on here. I want like a, is that, I think this is a little bit more greenish, slightly. Yeah, slightly more greenish. Okay, let's start there. And kind of do a little we're just going to do some sort of swirlies, I think, and see where this takes us. I got to be careful I don't muddy it too much. It'd be real easy to muddy it if I overlap the colors too much. This purple is very pale and sort of desaturated. I don't think I love this purple. I'm trying to go for like a slightly mottled sort of swirly sort of thing. I don't know that I'm quite hitting where I want to be hitting. But I believe that we will get there eventually. It just might take a little work to get there. Okay. Now, the actual snail body needs to be a color that will stand out against these other colors. So perhaps yellow for this one. Yes, the snails are going to be all Eastery. Yeah, if you go to r/egg IRL, it's all trans memes. But like, if you're not chronically online, then, you know, you're not necessarily gonna know that sort of thing. Do I want it to be like, maybe I want to add some of this in with it, so it's like a little bit more slightly orangey yellow rather than just yellow yellow. Okay. So, I'm gonna rough in the little face. And whoop. Don't worry, it's gonna get more detailed. We just roughen things in at the moment. My palette makes you think of Easter M&Ms. You were so confused about why your audio cut out and you realized you Bluetoothed to your fiance's car. Oh no. Oh no, Belly. Antibiotics kicking your butt. I'm sorry, that sucks. But yeah, stamping at least makes nail art a little more achievable when you feel like absolute garbage. I strongly encourage not trying to suffer through freehanding if you feel like poop. Okay. Now, this egg beside it, which is an actual egg, I think we will do some purple Queen Anthias or Anthias. And what else? We'll do like let's do like a ziggy zaggy. And I don't want to get too complicated with the patterns and color choices. I think probably just do like 2 colors per egg. Yeah. I went and put that in front of my little snail a little bit too much, but that's okay. Secondary color for this. What should the secondary color for this be? I'm thinking green or like a seafoam. Maybe scientific, maybe, or that blue, or this. Let's do this one. I like this one. I already have some of this out too, although it needs to be thinned a bit. Stamp an M on some pestle crumbs and call it a day for Easter M&Ms. Yeah. I wish I had found... I've never found a stamping plate that has the kind of font that I really, really, really want for... or fonts that I really want for that kind of thing. And it's only because I am one of those people that, like, I will spend the better part of an hour selecting the font that I want for any given project. And I acknowledge that that is unreasonable behavior, especially for most of the stuff that I'm doing. But I just... I can't help it. I really like typefaces, and I don't want them to be incorrect. And so it's been really difficult for me to decide on one or more plates with different typefaces on them. I have seen a couple where I'll like part of it, but I won't like the other part of it. It's like, Peggy, why are you such a picky bitch? But there's also the fact that, you know, ultimately I can hand letter pretty well. So, you know, seems a bit pointless. 10-day course of one antibiotic and a 3-month course of the other one. While you're on both, it's really not fun. Yeah, I'm sure. They can be brutal. And the short-term ones are often so hard on your body. We simply must take a break to admire Cinnamonkey. She's such a good girl. Freehand lettering chooses your font for you. You get no choice in the matter. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really get a lot of choice in the matter when I'm doing it on my nails either, but I try. I try to. All right, I think I want to use a little of this darker purple to define the bottom edge of the shell here. And then it is unfair how cute cats are when they wash their face. I agree. You're so bad for buying stamping plates you only use one pattern on. You know what? Legit. I have I've made that mistake myself. I'm pretty good about it now. I try really hard not to do that to myself because I know that I will be upset with myself about it. And I have so many stamping plates. And most of them I don't even use, right? Because the vast majority of them are from the brand that shall not be named. And so I won't even use them. And at least not for streams and stuff, which is when I do the vast majority of my stamping. I hardly ever stamp off stream. So it's like, well... And I do still have, you know, a reasonable number of stamps that I can use, or stamping plates that I can use. But, you know, I basically took away like half of my catalog of stamping plates. You're not coming in late, I know. I know, Sassy. I know you were here the whole time. I would never think otherwise. Amazon really wants me to be excited about the fact that people care about reviews. I think I've reviewed like 2 things on Amazon ever, and you know, haven't even really been buying from Amazon for the last couple of years. So but I keep getting emails from them that are like, ever wonder if your reviews are getting noticed? And I'm like, no, literally never. Never once have I ever wondered that. Why would you think that I would care about that? I don't Have you ever wondered if I give a fuck about your stupid emails? You should be wondering about that. The answer is no. I do not care. All right. Little snail face here. You donated all your plates from them except for a few. Yeah, I haven't, just because I feel like if I donate them and somebody like discovers stamping through them and doesn't know about everything, then I've like basically just made a new customer for them, which is probably silly. But I can't get the idea out of my head that that's a thing that I would feel responsible for. And so, yeah. I know it's ridiculous. I'm overthinking it, but can't help it. Cannot help it. Okay. I want to put a little bit of shadow and highlight in here. So let's go with some dilute purple. Could scratch up the name, yes. What stamping plates are we using? I like Lantern and Wren, CADs. I have a couple of the clear jelly stamper ones. I know a lot of people like them. I find a lot of them are they do like the layered stamping, which I don't tend to do layered stamping. So for me, a lot of those plates are sort of a waste of space. There's like, essentially 2 or 3 designs per that I would actually end up using. So I don't tend to go for those ones as much. Manuscript, like manuscript, but manuscript instead. Very good, excellent quality designs, actually. Very, very good quality plates. Not very many designs. Like, she doesn't have a ton of plate options, but everything is really good. What's Up Nails have been very good. I only have like 2 Uber Chics, and they're a little bit more spotty. Like, sometimes I will have trouble picking up specific designs on them, but most of the time they're fine. Yeah, CADs I think is one of my go-tos for like, it's just, they're so cheap, and they do mini plates. So, What's Up Beauty carries them, but I also buy them just directly from CADs. I haven't in a while. I don't know if things have gotten a little bit crazy since they are in China. But they do smaller size plates like this. But I've been very, very happy with those ones. Hit the Bottle are good. I don't have a ton of them, but the ones that I have are good. I've heard good things about Moira. I don't have any Moira. Oh yeah, the EDM ones are nice. As well. I have a few. What are you doing? My camera is freaking out. I'm sorry. I would love it if you would just chill out. Choose one thing to focus on and stick with it. You avoid plates with a lot of cut off rectangles because your nails are too wide for those designs. Yeah, that's a thing. And the EDM plates, they do a lot of those. There's a few brands that tend to do a lot of that kind of style where it's meant to be an all over full nail design. But I also have like the Moira, this stamp, the resizing stamper, which I use to grow or shrink stamps, which I've found works very, very well. Manuscript also has one that I believe is probably the same manufacturer. I think it works the same way. I don't know any of the Amazon brands, so because I try not to buy on Amazon. So I'm not as familiar with those ones. Yeah, CJS is Clear Jelly Stamper. Good quality. I just don't prefer their main style, which is the one where they have the layering thing going on. I didn't top coat after the first round of grasses. Y'all failed me. You failed me. You failed to remind me that I would want to top coat after the first round of grasses and before getting on to any actual painting. And as a result, I had a little tiny problem there. I blame you, chat. Each and every one of you. Moutine nails, I don't know. Panda Hall, I don't know. Gothic fonts. That sounds fun. To be fair, you couldn't see the grasses. Yeah, but you could see that I wasn't top coating them. Don't give me that. Don't you sass me, young lady. You're not into CJS's art style overall, but they have a few of their more unique ones, like Canada themed and Remembrance Day. Well, Remembrance Day would also kind of be Canada themed, right? Are they a Canadian brand, or do they just have Canadian styles? I guess they must be a Canadian brand, because nobody else would have Remembrance Day and Canada themed things. Hi, Maymay. I hope that you have had a reasonable day. I'm sure that it was less delightful than you would have preferred, since I'm fairly certain you've been working. But hopefully there were not too many stupid people trying to make your day miserable. All right. Here we go. Get some little highlights in a few spots. How do I want to do this? I hear kitty movement. I don't want this to look too shiny, but I do want it to have a little bit of some highlighting and a little bit of shapiness to it. You know what I mean? You had an okay day. It was 50-50, you know? Could have been worse. And you're done now. And that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I have no use for a Gothic font. 99.9% of the time. I would basically never use that. Okay. I need a bit more like shadow. Trying to like do this push and pull shadow and highlight thing to help define things in here. I'm gonna get a little, what is this one? Bep Blue. Add some of this into this. I'm not super happy with how these crullies have worked out for this portion of things, so. You signed up for Pokemon World's interest check. Woo! Step 1 in the long process of signing up for Pokemon Worlds. That sounds exciting. When is that? It's late summer or something, or is it fall? Okay, let's go to this one. Actually, yeah, that is the one I want. If you're into birds, I found a mama killdeer outside and I've been watching her for eggs to hatch. That's cool. I am not particularly into birds. But I am familiar with killdeers. This fucking thing, it keeps this part keeps going in. You see what I'm dealing with here? Do you see what I'm dealing with here? And I have twice now I have had to glue this again, and I'm sick of dealing with it. This is why I purchased a replacement. Yeah. I accidentally minimized my my thing there. I made chat go away for a moment there by accident. Oh, the owner and inventor of Clear Jelly Stamper, Debbie, is from British Columbia. Cool. Well, there you go. All right, we have a brand spanking new one. Untouched, unused. Way too expensive for it to be having that problem. Yeah, that was the first one I bought, though, and I have used it a lot. So... And it's been, what, a year? Over a year. It's been a little over a year, and I've used it a ton. So, like, yes, annoying. No, it should not have that problem. Yes, it is too expensive to have that problem, but it has had a year of hard living. So, I don't know. Am I gonna get that mad? And, like, I do take reasonable care of it, but I'm not perfect. It doesn't get perfect care. I'm gonna do something. The fact that I have like 5 greens out on this table right now and I just mixed a freaking green is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Why? Why am I like this? Why am I like this, y'all? Okay. I am beginning to enjoy this a little bit more now. I think it's working better. I am happier with where this is going. There's still time for me to fuck it up, of course. That could always happen. Bedtime for your mini-me. Well, hopefully that goes smoothly. All right. Yes, this is going much better. This is going much better. All right, let's bring in some coral. Yeah, exactly. The polish to mix the green was already right there on my palette and wet. So, you know, why wouldn't I mix it? I mean, come on. It is truly just like, at least half the time, it's just my body does the thing, and then I realize, you know, that was not the most efficient way to do that. Okay. I am much happier with this at this point. This is going much better. I didn't bring any black out. And their eyes technically should be black, but I feel like they shouldn't because I feel like they want to be softer. They want to be softer. I don't think we want to bring any super, super, super darks into this whole thing. I think we're just going to keep things a little extra light. Hello. Little babies. A little smile. Okay. We have one snail and one egg that I am reasonably happy with. They are not perfect, but I am reasonably happy with them. All right. Whew. And off we go. Next round. Let us do some relatively simple eggies out of some colors that we already have here on the board. Just because I feel like I always feel like I'm wasting polish if I'm not trying to use up at least most of what's on the palette. You know what I mean? All right, let's do a blue wash here on this one. And then maybe we'll like add some polka dots and some contouring. And I'll do the same thing on this one. Start with a blue wash. I feel like we can do that for a few of them. Do just some simple washes for some of these. Your brain just caught up. What was your brain off doing? Did it forget who Mei was? I always forget who people are when YouTube doesn't tell me their real name. Ah! That was a cat hair. Cursed cat hair. All right. Let's do a pink one back here. Oh my goodness. It's the end of the week. Your reactions to everything are like 10 minutes behind. Yeah. Sadly, it's not even the end of the week unless you don't work Fridays, which maybe you don't. That would be nice if you don't have to deal with that. You should have been on the account with your actual name on it. I mean, it's not a problem. You are just fine on any old account. Oh, come on. There's like a freaking little fuzz here. All right. Next one. Let's do a yellow. Oh, I've already got some yellow there. Got a lot of yellow here. Oh, right. Good Friday. Of course. Listen. A, I don't have a job. B, I don't have a religion. So things like that. Not a clue. Unless somebody else tells me. Not a clue. I always forget stuff like that. Okay, this one we decided was a snail, but not this one. This one is an egg. Okay, and then that's a snail. That is an egg with a snail on it. It's a floating holiday, so you might work so you have an extra day off later. That seems reasonable. Back when I was working retail jobs and such, before I was married, I would always, always, always volunteer to do those kinds of holidays, to work those kinds of holidays. Because A, you make extra money, and B, I didn't have anywhere to be. So yeah, and it was a good excuse to not have to go do things that I didn't feel like doing. You love that it's an amorphous white blob that I recognize as egg with snail on it? Yeah. Look, I know what it is. I put it there. Bum 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 bum. Let's do some more of this purple. Yeah, and it's extra easy if it's not your religion, right? Like if you just don't, if you have no attachment to that religious holiday and like you don't have any kind of family or social obligations or anything like that, it's like extra easy to choose not to do that sort of thing. Having not been raised in a Christian world, it's real easy for me to just be like, sure, I'll work whatever. I don't give a crap. All right. Gonna do part purple, part yellow. I'm gonna do some little dots, I think. Can I do dots without fucking it up, or do I need to use a dotting tool? Dot. Dot. I made one really big dot and one small dot. There, that's a little better. This is entirely the wrong paintbrush to be using. It just looks like boobs. What have I done? I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I am not happy with what I have done. I'm gonna fuck it all up and do it again, and it'll be better the second time. Maybe. Let's use this green. You have no attachment and bunnies don't lay eggs. Yes. Easter weekend isn't considered a paid holiday for you, so you just get a floating holiday day? Yeah. Good Friday or Easter Monday, one or the other was always a time and a half day for us in retail in Canada, at least in Ontario. All right, listen, we're going to get somewhere with this. I believe that we will get somewhere with this one, okay? Right now, it looks like horse shit, and that's okay. What do you mean bunnies don't lay eggs? I don't understand. Why would you say something like that? the the bunny and chocolate version of Easter was sort of the only version I ever knew growing up, and it was unattached to any kind of religious anything. I do remember being extremely confused about the other part when I heard about it. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, places that have to be open on holidays should absolutely be paying overtime hours. Biology degree taking the brain cell by the reins. Listen, I saw the Easter Bunny laying eggs in a cartoon, and I'm sure that that's the truth and real. So you must be wrong. I'm so hard on myself. It absolutely does not look like horseshit. Listen, for a second there, it did look like horseshit. It doesn't now. It's fine. Trust me. I was looking at it a lot closer than you were. It was definitely looking like horseshit for a minute there. It's fine. It was very colorful horseshit, but it was definitely horseshit. Trust me. Okay. This is looking much better. If a platypus can lay eggs, why are bunnies and chicks and eggs an Easter thing? Is it a pagan thing or a capitalism thing? Yes. So there are several pagan traditions incorporating eggs and bunny or baby animals and things like that into spring festivals. So that's a big chunk of it. Yeah, spring babies' eggs. Exactly. May, all I know is that I will get discounted chocolate, and that is all that matters. Truly. The true meaning of Easter, discount chocolate. Hell yeah. I'm pretty picky about my chocolate. So I don't normally go for the discount chocolate unless they happen to have Cadbury cream eggs. Lindt never seems to go on sale. They're okay. The Cadbury cream eggs, half the time they don't even last to the actual Easter holiday. They're like completely gone from the stores long before actual Easter. Which is always frustrating for me because it's one of the few things that I really, really like of the crappy seasonal chocolate offerings. Okay. I feel like I'm reasonably happy with this at this point. Reasonably happy. Easter equals jelly beans. I don't... Listen, this might be controversial. But I don't love jelly beans. I don't hate jelly beans. I feel slightly more negative than neutral about jelly beans, I would say. Like, if there's a sliding sort of scale of extremely negative to extremely positive feelings about jelly beans, I'd be like just slightly to the negative side of the middle. Jesus is a half dragon. Wait, what? Yes, the word Easter comes from goddess of spring, and then there's the Ukrainian and a few other of the cultures from that region that have the Pasinki eggs and similar things like that they'll do the decorations, and those traditions predate Christianity as well. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with eggs. You thought about the birth of Christ a lot, so if Mary was a virgin, her egg must have undergone parthenogenesis. Yeah, exactly. So Jesus was a woman. Yeah, of course. This is obvious. Okay. We have that egg. We have some simple thingies. I do want to decorate a bunch of these eggs. I guess maybe with like little stripies or something. Let's try some little stripies on some of these. Let's do some little just like little stripies. That kind of works. And give it a little bit of a shadowed side here. There we go. And then let's give... Do you need some water? Or not water, thinner. Yeah, they basically just took all of the pagan traditions and slapped some Christianity on it. And that was the only way they could get the pagans to go along with it. You will post about celestial dragons and Immaculate Conception and Jesus in the Discord? Please do. You're finding out that all the holiday symbols are actually pagan, even though they call it a Christian holiday? Yeah. It's exactly the same thing for Christmas, too. 100% of it is all pagan stuff. Good luck with your rabbit hole. Enjoy. You're gonna love it. Okay, let's see. Maybe for this one, it can have some little cute stars. Can I do stars this small? Will they even look like anything? Who knows? Let's find out. Sorta. That's sort of a star, kinda. Can I do it more than once? That's the real question. Sorta. Incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, etc. I've done it. Okay, one more down at the bottom. Just do a little, like it's just kind of there. I can't believe I pulled that shit off, y'all. Every once in a while, I do go okay. I surprise myself. 7 hot flashes in a row is 7 hot flashes too many. The Jesus rebrand. Yeah, I often find I get my hot flashes when I'm trying to sleep. It seems to be a real thing. It's very annoying. Thankfully, we have a ceiling fan in the bedroom. But yeah, I'll suddenly have to like throw off every blanket and just lie there dying for a moment, and then it's gone and I'm fine. Mine don't last for very long, thankfully. At least not so far. Let's see. What other simple, cute little designs can we do? How about... I'm just worrying about the actual eggs themselves at this point. Let's do like a little... You know what? I want to do one that's just kind of watercolory. I want to do one that's watercolory. Will I outline the snails? I won't exactly outline them, no. I will... I don't usually like to outline stuff. I usually try to just use shadow and highlight for the most part. Because I find that most of the time, if I try to outline things, they just end up... The outlines end up being too fat and they don't look good. And they end up like sort of obscuring all the detail. It just ruined my work. I don't love doing that. So rather than screw it up, I usually just try to do shadow and highlight. Yeah, the sleep hot flashes are brutal. The suddenly waking up drenched in sweat. Not a fan. Not at all a fan. And then, of course, you throw off all the colors and covers and you're drenched in sweat. And a few minutes later, you're like, welp, now I'm freezing. And now my sheets are wet and I'm cold. What the hell, man? Why has it got to be like this? All right. I feel like I like this one just like this with just a little gradient action. It's kind of got like a little watercolor gradient vibe. Do hot flashes ever have triggers or are they always random? Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Science doesn't. You know why? Because we don't study that. Because it only happens to women. So... we don't care about what happens if you have a uterus. Don't want to learn anything about that. No siree bob. Not relevant to the men's. Nobody cares. Sounds like lady problems to me. Give her some shock therapy. She'll be fine. She's probably just hysterical. Do, 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 do. Yes. I love our stupid world. If you try to put the covers back on after getting cold, you are immediately too hot again. That is a thing as well. Although, usually, I wait extra because I want the sheets to dry a little bit. And so I'm just shivering by the time I'm ready to put the sheets back on. Just do a little pinky highlight there at the top. You're definitely one step away from hysterical. Yeah. Something is wrong? Hysteria. Mad at your husband? Hysteria. You angry about the government? It's hysteria. Do. Brian is texting me things. But I'm not going to look at them because I'm streaming. Not feeling good, Sassy? I'm sorry. Go do whatever self-care you need. Thanks for stopping by. New non-hormonal drug specifically for treating hot flashes has just been approved on the NHS. Daily pill that blocks nerve pathways to prevent hot flashes, especially night sweats. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. The the difference between the response to male birth control and female hormonal birth control is truly outstanding. The way that they were just like, oh no, these side effects are unacceptable. We can't, we simply cannot deal with this. This is terrible. And you look at the list of side effects, and it's literally just what women have been dealing with hormonal birth control. And it's just like, yeah, okay. But they'll still tell us that none of those things are real. They're all in our head. Number of men out there being like, PMS isn't even real, it's fake. Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. If you say so. The hormones are basically the only thing that ever makes me cry. I'm like immune to crying 99.9% of the time. And I will absolutely lose my shit and sob if I'm like just before my cycle starts. Okay. I think that's all right back there. And then this little yellow one in the front. It's a little more thinner. But the men got sad. Aw. Oh no. I feel the same way as I do about the male loneliness epidemic. Listen, I think it's awful that people are lonely. I do. Anybody. I think it's awful that anybody is lonely. I do wish that more people would recognize that they're lonely because of their own actions and attitudes. And that the fact that they are lonely does not entitle them to other people. But you know, maybe they'll figure it out someday. All right. I tell you, I'm not super impressed with this specific egg over here. It is giving me a hard time. I'm going to punish it by painting it. Yeah, there is that, Belly. I do understand that, but it is also pathetic. And honestly, like, pregnancy wouldn't necessarily be that much worse if we would focus on some of those things, you know? Yeah, women are lonely too. It's just that being lonely is better than being abused. Yeah. Yes, it is. It truly is. All right, I'm going to do vertical stripes on this one. I haven't done that yet. Well, that didn't work great. It's fine. We can go back and fix it a little bit. Yeah, no, society does treat men like shit. It's true. It absolutely is true. Men have totally unreasonable expectations placed upon them, mostly by men. And that really sucks. And that is something that feminists seem to care a lot more about than the manosphere does. The manosphere likes to take that and take advantage of it and make money off of it. And for some reason, a lot of people have not recognized that. And I think that's sad. Because I would like men to be allowed to express themselves and be emotional and have friends, have healthy friendships. I would love that for men. Have I done zigzag yet? I did zigzag on the very first one. I do think another zigzag might have been a good idea, but I guess I've got this one still. I can do a little bit of zigzag on this one. Maybe in yellow. Let's do a little zigzag on this. It's not going to be very visible way back there. But we'll know it's there. Oop, I got a little stringy bit. Stringy bit. No, do not be stringy. Stop. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Belly. Okay. Bum 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 bum. I feel like that went a little bit wonky at the edge there. Is this... I'm gonna need the other brush for that. It went just a little wonky along the edge. That's still better. Was that even visible to anybody but me? Probably not. That's okay. Okay, now for the Snailus. I want a mostly pink snail. I am unfamiliar with Paris Paloma. I'll have to look them up. All right, let's do some pink here. So this one is a sunnail. And I want to add, I'm going to do a little gradient-y thing with it, I think. Was I humming? I might have just literally been saying bum 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 bum. I'm not actually sure. I don't remember what I said 20 seconds ago, so it could truly have been anything. But I trust that your captions are accurately transmitting what I'm saying, because I do say very stupid things and just make noises. I'm incapable of listening to myself while streaming. That part of my brain just shuts off. Does anyone remember if I was singing or not? Or was I literally just saying bum 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 bum? Sometimes I do sing bum 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 bum. Women succeeding isn't keeping men down. Men are keeping themselves down. Yes, correct. Okay. Do some of this. This particular snail is being seen from directly in front, and so we're getting a different view of the shell here. We're not getting to see the spiral on this one. Blue, and then I think a green. I keep forgetting which nail I'm working on. All right, now the snail itself for this one, I think I want to have be green. We're gonna do green for this guy. Nice bright green. I think going into blue at the bottom on his little foot. Get a little horns, little snail horns. Cute little bugger. All right. And then we're fading that down into which blue? I guess Bep. We can do Bep. I've already got some Bep out here. But is it too dry? It's too dry. Okay, let's do this. Actually, I'm not even going to mix that. I think I'm just going to go ahead and blob that on and sort of take advantage of the thinness of it to gradient it a little. There we go. Okay. And then, how do I want to... I might want to use that dark, not dark, that bright, this purple Anthias, purple Queen Anthias. Anthias? I don't know. Someday I'm going to actually look that up. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Okay, there we go. That's it. That made me happy. As soon as I got that on there, that made me happy. All right, let's just do that. And then why not do the eyes that color? Why not? Nobody can stop me. Little mouth. There he is. Oh no, your dog found the squeaky ball. Well, good luck, Ray, interpreting anything that I say over the next little while. I'm sure you'll be fine. Okay. Next one, let's go with a little blue. Let's go with a little blue. Let's go with a little blue. We gonna blue it up. Yeah. R.I.P. Ray's ears. All right. This one's gonna be blue. least for this part of it. Now this one we will see the spiral. So I think I might do like a blue to green kind of a thing. Ray, you need live captions? Yeah. Yep. Another excellent example of helping deaf people helps everybody, / helping people with any given disability helps everybody. Thank you, live captioning. All right. And then let's go to this one. Is it built in, Belly? Or do you have to have a separate app? That's an excellent question, because I feel like I would find that very useful for some live streams that I watch. Mostly I tend to watch VODs rather than actual live streams while they're live. But sometimes I do watch them actually live. And my hearing is perfectly fine, but my audio processing sucks ass. Oh, we have a cat's up moment. Oh, she's digging. All right, maybe we don't want to zoom in on that. We'll give her some privacy. All right. Now I think this is going to be a pink snail. Yeah, VOD has built in. Oh, so it's the Apple live captioning. That's cool. All right. I'm on Apple, so it is nice to know that I can turn that on in accessibility settings. Because, yeah, that's like a thing that would be very helpful to me when I'm actually watching a live stream. All right. The thing about snails is that they are basically the same thing as bunnies. I've just realized. They're little protrusions. They're not antennae. I don't know what they're called. There's got to be a separate word for that, because they're not antennae. Whatever those things are. They've got to be... They're very similar to bunny ears when you do them cartoon style. What are they called though? Now I want to know. Snail anatomy. They're like eye stalks or something, right? But what are they called? We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, y'all. I believe it. Okay, the foot is the bottom bit. The mantle produces the shell. The radula is the part that they do noms with. They don't say anything. Ugh, come on. Seriously? You think the scientific term is thingies? Omatophores. That sounds familiar. Okay. All right. Hang on. Yes, omatophore is the correct word for it. Thank you, Najwa. Eye stalks is not a scientific word. I was looking for the real one, the real actual word. Rachel will be so upset with me. She's very, very into snails. My stepdaughter Rachel. She's very into snails, and I'm sure that she knows this about them. Of course, our snails are not anatomically correct, and they have cute eyes instead of eye stalk eyes. We're not doing them the right way. Their little omatophores are being very important bunny ears. All right. They're too busy being bunny ears to be used for vision, so these snails have other eyes. Cuter eyes. Oh, she'd be mad at me for that one. So if someone is wearing a mask and you can't lip read, you can pull out the live caption bar. Like in real life? Damn, that's so cool. Oh, is your iPad older, Ray? I know sometimes the older ones don't have all of the fancy options for things. But if it's a new one, I would expect it to have it. Yeah, it's old. Yeah, it's possible that it doesn't have that then. I don't know. Guess you can find out, though. I need to get this, some like little spirally shadows in here. And I'm trying not to use super dark colors for this. You can't even update YouTube anymore? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, you might be out of luck on that one then. Once you get to the point where you can't even update the OS anymore, it's sometimes not going to give you all the latest newfangled stuff. Okay. That is snail number 2, which requires a mouth. Hello? We can't let this snail be running around without a mouth. And... Alright, hang on. There, that's a little better. Oh, see, I had it better and then I messed it up. Can anyone tell at this scale? Maybe not, but I can tell. And that annoys me. Okay. Good enough. I'm calling it. Yeah. It's also smart enough that it will give the word it thinks it heard, but it will use context from later in the sentence and update the word to the one that makes sense in context. That is very clever right up until I start spouting nonsense that simply doesn't make any sense. But, you know, I'm sure it does its best. I don't think I say things that are that crazy. I do probably cuss too much, but... You know, we're all adults here. Because we better all be adults here. I specifically told YouTube this is not for children. My streams are generally safe for work, as long as your workplace isn't completely ridiculous. But we're not controlling our cussing to any kind of a reasonable degree. Pardon me, for most kids, or at least most parents' idea of what they would like their kids to be hearing. All right, we have 2 more snails to do. Oh my goodness, I just realized I have missed an entire egg over here. I only did a pink wash on it and then stopped. So I'm going to have to also do something to that. Maybe I'll do another Ziggy Zaggy. But yeah, being able to use it in real life would be amazing. I need that for restaurants. You know that awful thing where there's too much like the music and the sounds of the restaurant and everything. For those of you with normal hearing but shit audio processing, you will know what I'm talking about. The overwhelming number of sounds that cause everything to just be one big sound, and then you lose the ability to understand words, and there is no volume level that will allow you to pick apart the words in a sentence, because you're hearing all the things too much. Love that. Yeah, you have to kind of lip read a little bit and yeah, use a I'm not like good at lip reading, but I have to use a combination of like lip reading to support what I'm hearing to help me sort of figure out what people are saying, and then I use a lot of context based, just like does it make sense that person said that? No. And most of the time I just kind of keep that quietly to myself, but with close friends and my husband, I'll tell them the crazy thing that my brain decided that they had just said, and sometimes it's extremely funny. It's just like, that's not even close. Like, where did your brain get that from exactly? 'Cause no, not even a little bit. Okay. It's surprisingly accurate, but I howled the other day during Linry's Mocha Moose Swatch review. YouTube censored her, but your captions were like, or your captions said, I was like, what the fuck? Fuck me. Are you kidding? Yeah. Yeah. That's good though. You need that context that Linry is swearing. It's important. It's important information, because otherwise, how are you going to know how she feels about it, right? Okay. Let's try to do this incredibly tiny snail on the side here of this one egg on my pinky. We'll see if we can get it to look like anything at all. Yeah, I saw that screenshot. It was very cute. I was like, yeah, that's YouTube trying so hard to protect people. But like, you need that information, right? You're not, if you're not getting that information, you're not having the same experience. Like, I'm sure if you're like a sign language speaker and you have an interpreter with you, they're going to interpret all of that stuff, right? They're going to be interpreting all of the little weird little details and quirks and everything that they're hearing that you're not able to hear, because that's the whole frickin' point. This snail looks like a turtle. Good job. When I'm tired, my ability to lip read definitely tanks. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That seems like one of those higher brain function things. I know for myself, and I think for most people, that when you're like really tired or stressed out, language is sort of the first thing to go. Whether that's spoken language or written language, like things like your vocabulary just kind of go out the window. For most people, it's a really common stress response. So I imagine that lip reading would be using that same part of your brain. So it makes sense to me that that would be a thing. Turtles do have snail vibes, I agree. However, I would like this snail to have more snail vibes than turtle vibes, if possible. And I think we can get there. I just need to get a little bit more of like a round thing here. That helped a bit. It went a little too... I'm gonna have to backtrack that a little, but it is helping. Okay. Your CFS totally nuked your vocabulary and ability to communicate? Yeah. Yep. I mean, what's more stressful to your body than literally any kind of chronic disability, right? Player got a yellow card, walked up to the referee, suddenly he got a red card and was sent off the pitch. Called him a fucking cunt. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, they're not likely going to tell you that that's what happened on TV, I guess, but yeah, those mad lip reading skills, that'll let you in on a few fun tidbits from time to time. Okay. Listen, we're getting there. We're working on it. We're doing the thing. Slowly but surely. I feel like it's slightly more of a snail now. It's still not 100% a snail, but it's more of a snail. It's becoming more snail bit by bit. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We got stringy bits. We got stringy bits, y'all. All right, I think I'm going to leave it at that because I'm afraid to mess it up. Bum, 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 bum. We have one more snail to do. And this snail will be primarily coral. Yep. Get the inside information. Gets to brag to all his buddies. All right. So this snail is going to be mostly coral with what color? Blue? Green? It's got to be something with enough contrast. Maybe could do yellow. Let's do seafoam. Let's do seafoam. Let's do seafoam. That one's time after time. That's not seafoam. Where's seafoam? Hello? Did I not pull seafoam green? Maybe I didn't. All right, well, we'll use breakfast at Monique's. I sure as heck pulled that one. Yeah, I guess I didn't pull seafoam green. I have Bep Bep and Scientific and Payday and Time and Lavender. Oh well. All right. I suspect that Cinna might want to leave. Hang on a second. I don't want to blow out the eardrums of everyone with functioning ears. Belly's going to be the only one who knows what I'm saying here. Well, no rescue for Cinna at this time, apparently. I don't know where Brian is, but he does not seem to be upstairs. I was assuming he would be in his office and would be able to hear me and possibly come rescue Cinna. Oh. Yeah, if you're not seeing all chat, that would have been a thing that I would imagine would get excluded from the top chat. I don't understand what their top chat qualifications are, because, like, it's not like there's people replying to chats. So how do they decide what's a top chat? How do they decide what to drop? I assume part of it is like, if you're, just repeating the same thing, spamming or whatever, that would be one thing that would have you excluded from top chat. Clearly swearing does. But other than that, like, what are the qualifications for that? Inquiring minds want to know. They censor anything they consider spam or potentially offensive, yeah. But, like, I think it's a bit of a misnomer to call that top chat. Ma'am? Hello, ma'am? I think she needs to be let out. Okay. I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to have to make sure that the other cats are, situated. Do you need to go out? Ah. All right. Well, I guess. Cinna is leaving, but Timony has entered. Okay, what color do I want to use for this little friend's face? Perhaps yellow. Let's do yellow. Or green? No, yellow. We could do yellow into green. That would work. No number, no post. Yeah, they're taking shifts, apparently. I don't know where the child went, though. He's somewhere behind me. He's messing around with stuff. I can hear him messing around with a cardboard tube. All right. What? Are you saying Are you snorkeling? Okay, let's do green for this one's little mouth and shadowy bits. Sir, do not. I will kick you out of this room. Little brat. He likes to try to get into my the nail polish shelves that are like the open shelving. There's too much fun to be had over there, apparently. And so he's always trying to worm his way in there. But there's a lot of like cables and stuff. So it's not really totally cat safe. He is not allowed in this room unsupervised as a result. All right. Snail friend. Snail friend. Children, what is happening? Y'all, I need to try and... Oh, sure. Now they stop. Apparently, Cinna's long nap built up some beans for her. Uh-huh. All right. Is snorkeling a word? Yes. Snorkeling cat art would be great. Listen, snorkeling is a word because Jamie does it all the time. She snorfles. And I spell that with 2F. It's like snuffling. But it's snorkeling instead. Yeah, the caption's going to pass on that one. Because that is, I don't know if it's an actual word, but if it is, it's not a normal one. Yeah, exactly. It's a portmanteau basically of snuffle and snort. Snorful. Okay. Get a little little highlight action here. I desperately need a haircut. My hair is driving me absolutely insane. I messaged my usual hairdresser back in February, and I have not heard back from her. And I don't. The reason I started going to her to begin with was because I could just DM her on Instagram to get an appointment. But if she's not responding to Instagram DMs anymore, then I don't know that I want to go to her anymore. I like her, but I don't know if I like her enough to have to phone her. You know what I mean? I don't love that. I do not want to have to communicate with human beings via telephone ever, if possible. Oh my god, children, what is happening? There's like all these little... Child does... He makes these little weird humming and chirping sounds constantly. And it's adorable. But it's also like... What the fuck is happening? Okay. I think I might be done, y'all. She said, still adding more highlights and shit. I was going to do more grass in front, but now I'm concerned that if I try and do that, I'm just going to end up causing misery for myself. I don't know. Do we feel like it needs to have more detailed flowers or more grasses in front? Or do we feel like it's better as is? No, she does not have an online booking. Online booking would solve so many problems, but none of the hairdressers around here that have halfway decent reviews have online booking, and I don't know why. Maybe a few blades in front. All right, we'll do a little bit. These cats. These cats are ridiculous. Couple of small grasses in front. Yeah, I think I agree. I think a couple will be good. I definitely don't want to overdo it, though, and it would be really easy to overdo it. So I need to be cautious and not go too far with it. Timony. Oh my god. Jesus. That piece of styrofoam just got kicked incredibly loudly. I don't know how well it picked up on the microphone, but that was quite startling. Okay. Let's go with one here. And here. Don't want to go in front of this little dude's face for sure. But I can maybe do one here. Whoop, that did not work well. That did not work well. Now I have to be more careful because it's got texture. It's got texture. Okay, that's better. I think that's enough for that nail. And then I'm going to leave that nail. I'll put a couple in front of this one. I think just that. And then a couple here. And then a couple on the pinky. It's like one there. And a short one maybe? Yeah. And then like one this way. Someone's getting a drink of water. I can hear a little lapping sound. Like a tiny patch, like a merkin. Don't tell me I should top coat first after I'm finished. I know you said it before I was finished, but you knew I wasn't going to look up. Timony kill. Yeah. He made himself thirsty. He's the one over there drinking now out of the fountain. You can just see a little bit of Cinna at the bottom of the cam there. All right, now we need a... I think I'm going to leave the flowers. I don't think I want to do any more detail in the flowers. I think they're correct as is. Just sort of roughed in, gestural. It's like you can tell that they're flowers, but it's true. I actually do it on purpose, Ray. Because if I were to look up when you give good suggestions, I would have to take those suggestions. And I don't want to. Can y'all hear Timony talking? He just has conversations with himself all the time. All right, seal glaze, because we used some white, and white loves to smudge. And I do not want to smudge this after all the work I did on it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're almost at the 3-hour mark. And I need to go to the grocery store tonight. Because I got to make a flourless chocolate cake tomorrow. And then Saturday, I have a bunch of cooking to do. We're having some friends over on Saturday evening for dinner. And I need ingredients. When you screenshot on your Mac, it doesn't show the captions. It just shows an empty gray box, which sucks. Oh, interesting. It did figure out that I was saying snorkeling. Excellent. You can assume if it ever tells you again that I'm saying snorkeling and we're not talking about diving in the ocean or something, you can just assume that I'm saying snorkeling and not snorkeling. I do make up words, unfortunately. with some regularity. I am just about finished, my love.
Too late to go to Harris Teeter.
Yeah, I know. But we wanted to go to Wegmans anyway. The closer grocery store closes a little earlier, so it's too late to go there. But Wegmans has, I think they're going to have nicer salmon. And probably nicer veg. I just got to wait for this to dry so I can put top coat on. I do think glossy top coat for this. If I had time, I would probably do the eggs matte, and the snails glossy, but I'm not going to have time for that. You've been out pretty much this whole time. What did I paint? Here's the thumb. We've got an Easter egg in the grass and an Easter snail. And then, similarly, on all the other nails, a combination of Easter eggs and Easter snails. Because why not? It's normal. You make up a lot of words. You also accidentally renamed a lot of people when you were a child. Your cousin Christopher became Biffa. You know what? That's adorable. That's a really cute name. What's that kids book series? Ramona. Is it Ramona? Can't remember. Ramona something, and then her sister has a funny name because her name was like Beatrice or something, and Ramona couldn't say it, and she came up with something else. What is the series I'm thinking of? Half of you are the right age to know it. Shilfie. Soft, silky, shiny. Yeah, Shilfie. My little sister, Beezus. Thank you, Beezus. Ramona and Beezus. Thank you, Najwa. Yeah, they made a movie. The books are actually quite old. I read them when I was a kid, and they were already older at that point. But then they went and made a movie in, like 15 or 20 years ago. And so a whole new generation of kids. Your sister Christy became Creaky. That's so cute. You used to write your cues like cats because of that book. That's adorable. I love it. I'm a big fan of just making up words, especially if like the existing word is just a little unsatisfying. My little stepsister she didn't speak English as a child. She spoke a combination of Flemish Dutch and Swedish. And she was like 5 years old when she moved to Canada. And so, she didn't have a huge amount of language to begin with. Maybe she was 4. Anyway, somewhere in that range, 4 or 5 years old. So had sort of 4 or 5 year old mastery of the language, of those two languages. And then started adding English in with that. He is yelling at... No, don't do that. Sir. He is so bored. What was I saying? Yeah, so she started adding English words, and she would just make up words that were like combinations of the word in all 3 languages. Just bizarre stuff. She had a whole other language that only her mother was able to understand because her mother was the only other person in her life that spoke all three languages. Beverly Cleary, that's right. That was the author for Ramona and Beezus. You thought bald and blonde were the same word? You called your grandma's white grandma and yellow grandma based on their hair colors. Beezus does sound like a nickname for Beelzebub. You are not wrong. Which, you know, if you have a sister, you understand. Not that far off. All right, I do have to run. We have grocery shopping to do, so I got to get out of here. However, next Tuesday, I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Somebody tell me. Hit the Discord. You know the drill. Give me your suggestions. Maybe something space related. I don't know. Something to do with the moon. Maybe. Who knows? Figure out something. Give me your suggestions. That's it. I will take quick pictures first. Yes, don't you worry. And don't forget to, press all the appropriate buttons and tell your friends about the hippopotamus and say goodbye to Timothy Cricket. All right. Bye. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out.